Now, here's a really interesting question. So if you completely ignored your goals and focused only on your daily habits, would you still reach your goal? And I wish I had a survey up, and I would like to see your answer on that. But let's look at a basketball coach, for example. If a basketball coach ignored the goal to be a champion and focused his team did or her team did at practice each day, would that team still get the results, still win the championship if their focus is what they did every day at the gym? And John, what's the quote, you know, of all Olympic gold athletes speak about how they win the championship, or national teams that have gone say they win the championship not at the championship. It's not won at the championship. It's won during the off season. All great teams, all great coaches say your success is in the off season, which means in the daily habits or in the practices. So as a coach, your habit is what your team does at practice each day. As a writer, your habit is to follow a writing schedule each week. As a runner, your habit is to follow your training schedule. As a business owner, your habit is to follow your sales and marketing. So what about you? You've got point A on your, that's where you're at today, and you got point B where you really want to be. So let's talk about, should you focus on habits or should you focus on your goal? I want to be a platinum. I want to be a platinum. I want to be a platinum. Okay, here's the first thing. And I wish I had the slide to show you this, but the first thing you can write down is goals put off you celebrating your success. What does that mean? All right, so when you're working toward ED, let's say, you are essentially saying, I'm not good enough yet, but I will be when I reach ED. Right now, I'm a manager, a senior associate. I'm not good enough. ED is my mark. ED is my goal. So I don't really celebrate until I reach ED. The problem with this mindset is that you are teaching yourself to always put happiness and success off until your goal is reached. So once I reach ED, then I'll be happy. Once I achieve my goal, then I'll be happy. Once I lose 10 pounds, then I'll be happy. You know, it's always out there. All right, so the solution, okay, that's the problem. You can write this down, relabel success as one who accomplishes their daily habits. So think about yourself being successful not when you reach a goal, but when you accomplish a daily habit commitment. All right, so if I go to practice as a basketball team and I go to practice and I give my 100% every day at practice. I remember Rodman was known for that, Michael Jordan, no matter what. They said when he came to practice, Tiger Woods too, for his golf, when they came with the mindset, I'm putting it all out here. This day of practice, I'm putting it all out here because what I do here today down the road in maybe 6 months or a year in the championship is going to matter. So everything matters in the day, and that's what this is all about. Choosing a goal puts a huge burden on your shoulders also. If your goal is to go platinum, just writing that out in your little, what are my goals, that could stress you out. Okay, instead, what if you focused on the daily habit that will position? So we're talking about focus. We're talking about what we really should be thinking about. That way you can feel successful at the end of every day. Knowing your commitment to daily habits will, under the law of the harvest, produce a positive result. That is the reality. If you focus on what you need to do on a daily basis, the side effect, think of it as something that just naturally happens. All right, so if you focus on goals, that you won't necessarily hit them. But if you focus on daily habits, you will hit your goals. All right, now there's two scriptures I'm going to share with you. They're literally the Hoffman family principle. And one is Matthew 6:33, which says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of its righteousness, and then, capital T-H-E, and then all these things will be added unto you. So let me put that in legal shield terms. Seek ye first. This is how I take what God's wisdom is and apply it into my life, into our family, into every single aspect of our life. Seek ye first God's way of doing legal shield. So that's the first thing. Whenever I'm in a situation, when I'm going to a company, going to a presentation, recruiting somebody, I'm going to seek the way God would want me to do that thing. I know that if I seek ye first God's way of recruiting, God's way of marketing, God's way of selling a customer, God's way of following up with a customer, God's way of serving a company, God's way of presenting myself and being a person of excellence. If I seek ye first His way of doing business in Lake Should, then all these things shall be added unto me. That is a promise, that is truth, that is going to happen. And that's all the Hoffman family thinks about. So we don't have to worry about this, that, or whatever. It's not confusing. It's very simple. We just seek ye first God's way of doing every action that we're doing in that day. And does He want a lazy person? No. So I seek ye first a person of integrity, a person that sets a daily habit and does that. So that would be in agreement with that scripture. I'm not going to seek ye first God's ways, which is not laziness, which is not unethical behavior, which is not following up on a customer, which is not caring about a company account, which is not training and developing somebody to their full potential. All of those things are part of the whole system of what God created everything for, is to produce. And we've talked about these things before. A second one is Joshua 1:8, and that says, meditate on God's word night and day, and do everything written therein, comma, then you will be prosperous and have much success. So it doesn't say to go and look at the goal. You know, in Matthew 6:33, it doesn't say seek the things and you'll have the things. It says no. Seek first the right ways of doing things, God's way, and then you will have the things. And Joshua 1:8, meditate on the word night and day. Be careful to observe to do everything written therein, do it His way, comma, then you will be prosperous and have much success. Oh, so if I want to be prosperous and have much success, I don't focus on being prosperous and having much success. I focus on doing things the right way. So there's the whole webinar is those two scriptures. That is the absolute most important thing. You can lead your life, run your thoughts through, run your thinking, run your actions, evaluate your day, evaluate what you do, evaluate how you think through those two key foundational principles. If literally, and I want to tell you a story, when we first started in Legal Shield, where all the top people were coming into the business, and it had been the People's Network, and Prepaid Legal bought us and everything. Well, John and I live by the two scriptures I just gave you, Matthew 6:33, seek first God's way of doing everything, and then all these things will be added unto you. We never looked at our check. You know, I see people that look at their check, look at their numbers every day. We are more focused on seeking first the right way to do things. So we just focused on that. What are the right way to do things? What is the right way to recruit, et cetera, et cetera? So 3 or 4 years had passed, and we got a phone call from another top person, and they said, what are you doing? Your income has quadrupled. And I was like, really? Okay, I guess it has, hasn't it? And it was so amazing to me, and I sat down. I can remember the phone call, and I sat down, and they go, what are you doing? And I said, I'm seeking first God's way of doing everything. Literally. It changed our family, it changed our parenting, it changed our marriage, it changed our income, it changed our finances, it changed everything in our entire life. And so that one factor, and that phone call came in, and I was just like, that's what I'm doing, that's what we're doing. We're just seeking first the right principles, the right habits, and the goal is happening as a side effect. So if you get one thing, and you get what I'm saying, it could literally change your life forever. All right, so another thing is goals can work against long-term progress. What in the world are you saying, Darcy? Goals can work against long-term progress? No way. Well, let's look at that. So you might think your goal will keep you motivated over the long term, but it's actually not true. Consider someone whose goal is Performance Club. Many people will work to hit it, but as soon as they get their 5, they literally stop their daily habits. Why? Because their goal was to make Performance Club, and now that they have completed it, that goal is no longer there to motivate them that month. So when all your hard work is focused on a particular goal, what is left to push you forward after you achieve it? So this can create like a yo-yo effect where people go back and forth from working on a goal to not working on one. This type of cycle makes it difficult to build upon your progress for the long term. Okay, so that's the problem. That would be the challenge. Goals can actually work because you set a goal, you reach it, performance club, and then you think, okay, stop, you know, and there's a shutdown. Whereas if you're focused on a daily habit, and the side effect isn't just 10. What if the side effect of your daily habit produced 15? Oh no, you didn't stop at 5. Your goal, and you're seeking first your way of doing your business on an ethical and a high performance habits mentality. So that's what you're seeking first to do. And the side effect might be 15 sales. The side effect might be 3 recruits. The side effect might be a lot of things, but don't limit it to 5 when you can just focus on that habit. So the solution is instead of focusing on a goal, create a habits-based mentality and release the need for immediate results. What that means is when you make 5 presentations, for instance, and a goal-based mentality tells you are a failure because you set a goal and didn't reach it. You're supposed to make a presentation, make a sale, make a presentation, make a sale. And that is when you remind yourself that you are building your business with a habits-based mentality. You accomplish your presentations for the day. Let's say you have 5 presentations per day, and you can feel good. Whether you had the sale or not is not the issue because you actually are building your business based on a habits mentality. You're seeking first the right actions to do in that day, and then you know all things will be added unto you. All right, so your self-esteem is in your commitment to the habit, the principle, the way, the new normal that you have in your life, not the result. And that creates a new normal that helps propel you forward, knowing the law of the harvest says, if you keep planting seeds, you will absolutely, absolutely reap a harvest. It's a law of the harvest. It's going to happen. And so if I keep looking, I don't know if anybody on this phone has ever tried to lose weight, okay? Worst thing you can do when you're trying to lose weight is get on the scale and see the result. It'll depress you. It'll knock you out. You cannot look at the result. But if on a daily basis you cut this food out and cut that food out and add an exercise into your day, over time, with that daily commitment, with that integrity and that commitment for a new normal, a new way, a new lifestyle, you will, on the side effect, lose weight. You don't ever have to get on the scale. I would advise anyone, by the way, never, never, never get on the scale because it messes you up. And so when you're always thinking that presentation or that has to result in something, you aren't keyed into the principle. Now, if you make a presentation, all right, there is some definitely refining and advancing. Every single presentation, you're doing the tell me, show me, let me, grow me. We're in the growing stage. So that doesn't mean, wow, I do 5 presentations, who cares what the results are? I'm not saying that. I'm saying being committed to the tell me, show me, let me, grow me concept of coaching, but more so be habits-based mentality where I'm going to go out there and do my daily habits, perform them, feel good. That's my success is based on doing things right, seeking first the right way to do things, and then I know that promotion, that increase, that success, those referrals, that account, those people will start to see my consistency, my commitment, my integrity, my leadership, and then they'll say, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of it, and you will attract it. I don't know how it works. I don't know why it works. I know God set it up this way, and if you are violating that and you're seeking first the promotion, you're seeking first the commission, you're seeking first what you get, your focus is wrong, and maybe that's why you're not getting where you want to get. On the front page of my book, I have a quote by Jim Rohn, matter of fact, and it says, motivation is what gets you started. Think of that as a new goal. Motivation, you're motivated. Oh my gosh, I want to get to ED. Oh, I saw a bunch of EDs go across the stage. That's my goal, okay? Motivation is what gets you started, Jim Rohn says. But habit is what keeps you going. So the key is you understand the new goal. An example for me personally, I remember getting started in this industry as I was like, wow, look at this is great. You know, I saw these people making money, and I remember going, that top position, okay, platinum position, that top position is the position I want. That's it. I don't know why, that's where I'm going. Boom. So that was my goal, set in my head, set in my mind. Literally, I was like the new associate at the meeting, and I saw these leaders, and I'm thinking, it just clicked in my mind, that's where I'm going. I walked to the front of the room. It was a corporate person making a presentation. I reached out my hand, and I said, hello, Fred, and his name is Fred. Hello, Fred. My name is Darcy Hoffman, and I'm going to be a platinum. All right, so I stated, and he remembers that corporate employee, who is this person, and I'm walking up to him, and I just stated to him that I was going to be that top position because I saw the company, believed in the product, and I knew the place for me was there. So in my mind, that's the goal. All right, so I had the goal kind of there. So I had the goal, it's off to the side. Now I was like all engaged in what do I do to get to the goal? What is my habits mentality? What do I need to do? What's the do whatever it takes mentality kicked in. I really didn't know what it was going to take. It didn't even matter what it was going to take. I just knew that's where I was going, and I needed to figure out everything that it would take to get there. So it wasn't a real, so you know where you're going with your goal, but it's more the focus is on what I need to do daily to produce that end goal. And so that's what the story is all about. So the end, you know, the real principle here is fall in love with habits, with daily a daily habit mentality. None of this is to say that goals are useless. Goals can help you plan. Write this down. Goals help you plan progress. So I knew where I was going. I had a plan progress, but habits help you make progress. So goals help you plan progress, but habits help you make progress. And this is where we started. We're going back to the beginning now. That is the question. You know, when I asked you, all right, you have goals, goals, goals. Are you getting to your goal? Are you achieving your goal? And so maybe you've been so focused on a goal versus your daily habits, you're not really making progress because habits help you make progress. Like Jim Rohn says, motivation gets you started, the goal, but habits are what keeps you going. All right, so we want to just have a simple design, and we talked about that. Now you can look at the screen now. I am actually going to pull up something. Not that one, this one. Personal responsibility. The happiest people in the world are those who feel absolutely terrific about themselves. And this is the natural outgrowth of accepting total responsibility for every part of their life. So we're talking about this daily habit mentality is about total responsibility, that if you want an end goal, it starts with what you do today. So let's look at this. We talk about the PDA, and I want you all to get out a piece of paper right now and kind of break down what is my income. And I'm going to show you this. This is in my Success Habits book, but this is, we're going to use this example about an income goal. So put your income goal down on a piece of paper. We're going to use 1,000 for this example. And what you do is you figure out your income goal. In this particular case, it's 1,000 for this person. Their average commission at their particular level on a sale is $100. So they're probably the associate level. $100. So also write your average commission. You could be at $250 if you're an ED. You could be wherever your commission level is. Then your closing percentage. Some people are at 25%. All right, that's okay. Some people are at 75%. That's better. But here's the thing. I wanted to be a straight A student in college, in high school and in college. But I wasn't the brightest kid in the school. So what did I have to do? Person A might be studying in half an hour to get an A in that class. Darcy had to study 3 hours to get an A in that class. What just happened? Okay, so Darcy had to study 3 hours to get an A. That's just life. I hate to say it, but that's the way it is. I got an A, I could get an A, I could get to that same place that somebody else could get with a half an hour of studying, but for me it was 3 hours of studying. I don't know what your closing percentage is, but for you, you might not have the skill sets yet. You might be at 25%, you might be at 50%, but that's just where you're at today. If you commit to the habits-based mentality, you will eventually increase your skills, and I think John says make up in numbers what you lack in skill, so that closing percentage will increase, especially with PDA and coaching and always saying, how could I be better? R3 is going on, referrals to the power of 3. All right, so you got closing percentage of 50%. The weeks in a month are 4.33, and you are working 5 days a week. All right, so this is your actual figures. This is in the Success Habits book, this formula. So it looks like this. You take your commission, you take your $1,000, your income goal, you divide it by your commission. So now that means I need 10 sales to make, at $100, I need 10 sales to make 1,000. All right, well, 10 sales at a 50% close, that means I need to do 20 presentations. 50% will say yes, and I will get 10 sales. So now I know exactly how many presentations I need to do. It's not like, oh, you know, I just have this goal and I'm running around, hey, I'm going to be a platinum, woo, woo, woo. No, I am getting very specific about what I need to do daily. So 20 sales will, over 4 weeks, that means, or 20 presentations, oops, this is supposed to say presentations, 20 presentations, 4.3 a week. If I'm working 5 days a week, that's 1 presentation a day. Now I have broken it down to a habits-based mentality. I know I need 1 presentation a day, which means now my habit is how many calls do I need to make to get in the system 1 presentation a day minimum. Okay, I can do 2, I can do 3, you know, don't limit it. Don't, you know, if you make 10 calls and you get 6 appointments, don't go, oh my gosh, that's over my 5. You know, we're not into the goals to where we limit ourselves, so we want to make sure, but we do want a precise activity, a habit that you are looking at on a daily basis. So that would be 1 presentation a day. Now the thing we looked at before last week is, let me go to another PowerPoint. We talked about that 1 presentation a day is 10 sales a week, and that was the SHIELD Team 10 concept that can help us have platinum. So here's an example of a platinum position that looks overwhelming, and an executive director position that looks overwhelming, but then when you break it down to the slide I just showed you, and you say, wow, that's 1 presentation a day. You know, that's the 1 thing you need to do daily to make SHIELD Team 10 is that 1 presentation. Now, here's Monday. There's just 1 thing to do that day. There's the 1 thing I need to do on a daily basis. There's my habits-based mentality and what I need to do. 1 presentation a day, 5 every weekend, or 1 a day and 5 every weekend would give you 20 presentations, you know, 10 a week or 40 presentations a month. Imagine if your team was doing that on a weekly basis, especially when you're launching your business. So this is taking kind of the whole concept of the big, huge goal and breaking it down to the little bitty day and the little bitty habit that you need to do on a daily basis so that you can reach your goal. But seek ye first the right ways to do business, and all these things, your position, your 6-figure income, will be added unto you. So it's a law of the harvest, it's a principle, it's a promise, it's the way God made everything to work. So this is what we do. We look at seek ye first, we look at meditating on the right things to do, and then we will be prosperous and have much success as a side effect. That's not our focus. Our focus is what we do, how we serve, and all of those factors. So that's the webinar for today. Over to you, John. John?
I guess I'm on mute. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh. You got to learn how to work that mute button. I was talking and doing really well. But hey, I got like 3 pages of notes, and geez, the slides are great. But I tell you what, that was powerful. Let me share a couple of just quick things. Here's the quote from an Olympic gold medalist, and it's what Darcy was talking about. Your biggest success will come from your training. Love it, love it. Walt Disney said, all the adversities I've had in my life, all my troubles and obstacles have strengthened me. And if you think about it for a second, if you have a job, what's the first thing you have to do? You have to make a choice. You have to make a decision to get up when the alarm sounds. Then you need to show up. This all applies to that daily habit that Darcy talks about. So, if we don't apply those habits, those simple daily disciplines, if we don't establish that DMO in our own business, guess what? We're naturally doing it for someone else in their business. That's why I just think this webinar, that's why this time together is so critical, because if I choose to get up at the alarm and then I choose to show up, I'm making a choice. It starts with that decision. And then when I get to work, I'm committing to the disciplines to get what? A check. So I got a job so I can get a paycheck. I don't think there's a lot of people who have much more of a goal in that W-2 mentality. I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just saying that for a lot of folks, the means to an end is a check, paycheck to paycheck, month to month, So it starts, with some folks in punching a clock. That becomes a habit. It starts with some people in punching a clock and going to their workstation, or, so, make a commitment to the journey and know that those dividends are going to pay big time. And I just want to say this too, you might get to the gym. You've got a goal to kick off the new year and lose some weight and get your health in line and things like that. Well, first it comes with a choice, but just know that if you get to the gym and you're a little anxious, maybe you're a little nervous, maybe you haven't been to a gym, you can certainly find someone that will show you around and show you how the weights work, but you've already started on your road to success. The fact that you made the decision, the fact that you made that choice to step out and enter into the ring puts you ahead of a lot of people who still lay in bed. And what may prove to be a challenging day, what may prove to be a day that wasn't filled with the kind of success you wanted, is still going to prove to be successful. Even if you do something wrong, something right is going to happen. Something positive will come from it. Again, whether it's going to the gym or whether, let's just take Legal Shield, whether it's going to Starbucks to do a sit-down, going to an executive luncheon where you've got 3 guests coming. Here's a little bit of my story. Hopefully Darcy won't add too much to it. I remember going to numerous business opportunity meetings where I was the speaker, whether it was Lansing, Michigan, whether it's Grand Rapids, Michigan. Back then we had to set up a big display. We would have to wheel our stuff through the parking lots of snow-covered, slushy hotels. We'd have to pay for the room. We'd set up the display, and we would, start a 45-minute presentation. Well, I was no-showed time and time again. And I remember the first time I was no-showed, I said, okay, what can I learn from this? Well, I can learn to do a better job in how I contact and invite, certainly. But better yet, since no one's here, I'm not going to pack my stuff up and leave right now. I'm going to stand up and practice the presentation. So what actually felt like a negative, what actually felt bad emotionally, I got no-showed. I didn't get no-showed by 3 people. I got no-showed by 15, 20, 30 people because I was a massive contactor and inviter, and I wasn't very good. But guess what? I stood in front of that room, absolutely empty, and I did a presentation as if there were 100, 200, 300 people in the room. So what turned out to be a negative, what turned out to be a bummer, what turned out to be a kind of a sad night became a great night because I did the presentation, and I realized that the more I did the presentation, seek ye first, and then the more I did the presentation, the day that I finally figured out how to get people to show up, then I would be prepared, I would be ready because my presentation would be better. So your habits, your activity, your action, boy, what a great webinar. I just get excited about these every single week, because we're constantly coming to you, with the you variable. Every one of you are gifted for success. Every one of you have in you everything that you need to be successful. And when we address not the how-tos, not the resources and tools available to us through this great company, but when we address that U variable, amazing, amazing things happen. When we move you from W-2 thinking to the 1099 world as the CEO of your business, great, great things happen. So if you have a question, if you have an aha moment, if you had something you'd like to share, please raise your hand. I'll bring it out to you. In the meantime, who do we have on our six-figure ring or millionaire panel over there that'd like to share a comment as I go through the audience to see who has a question or a comment? Anybody out there with any thoughts in respect to the webinar? I don't even see. Let me just see. It might just be us this morning. I know some folks are traveling. Okay, here, let's go to Sarah. Well, Sarah Ralph, I'd like to call on you. I'd love to call on you, Sarah, but you have to put in the PIN code and you have to put in the access code in the audio portion of your dashboard. Your hand is up. I can't call on you until you get in that portion. So let's go out to Steve Hales in the Pennsylvania market. Steve, great to have you.
Hey, John, thanks so much. And I just want to say, what an amazing training here this morning. Something that came to mind to me, and I think it ties right in with what you were saying, John, that when I was in the Army, we had a saying, and when something like train like you fight. So we went, excuse me, when we went out every day and trained, we trained like it was the real deal, like there were real bullets flying at us, so that when we were in the heat of the battle, we knew exactly what to do because our muscle memory was perfect. It was right there where we needed it to be. We could find our magazines when we needed to switch. And like Legal Shield, if, like you were saying, practicing your presentation in an empty room, your muscle memory, your gestures in the front of the room, I'm sure were perfect by the time you had guests in the room. On that note, it is not easy to start new habits. So I'd like to share a scripture that I've been dwelling on a lot lately. It's Proverbs 24:16, which says, "The righteous will fall 7 times, but get back up." And then if we go back to Joshua 1, verse 9, it says, "This is my command, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." So yeah, it's not easy to start new habits. It's not easy to continually, well, it is easy once you continually do it, but to start is hard, and that's when we need the goal, the motivation to get started. But once we do that and we begin that process of building the habit, then it becomes simple. Nothing's easy, but it's very simple if we do it right. So thanks so much for this training. It was amazing. And back to you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Steve. I appreciate the comments. I'll tell you this. A lot of times I don't think we as individuals think, you know, about some of those habits or activities or disciplines. In other words, you know, 21 days on average to form a new habit, and, you know, 21 days on average to get rid of some nasty, stupid old habits. And here's what I find not easy. What I find not easy is not having any money in my pocket. What I find not easy is having more month at the end of the bills. What I find not easy is looking at my wife and saying, no, we can't put our kids in private education. You know, what I find not easy is saying, no, we can't buy that washer and dryer. We're going to have to go without for another, you know, month and a half. Or, you know, you can't have that safe car to drive. You have to maybe drive this car. You know, being able to have choices, being able to live in accordance with how we're purposed, especially in the greatest country in the world, I would rather make those disciplines. I would rather suffer through, struggle through that safety in numbers. I would rather go through the journey knowing that on the other end is that promise because I committed to the price. And there's no company, there's no business model delivering, certainly like Legal Shield. Let's go to Tom Wellen. Tom, great to see you. Your hand's up. Go ahead, sir. Tom Wellen.
Yeah, I have the same problem with that mute button.
Speak up. Go ahead. What's that? Tom, you on mute? All right. I think we lost Tom. We had Tom. We'll get him back. He just, all right. Anybody else out there?
There's Katie out there. Can she talk?
Oh, here we go. We got a few more. Well, yeah, we'll find Katie. Yep, absolutely. Well, I got Deb Otten. Go ahead, Deb. I see your hands up. I got back to the top of the board. We got a loaded, maxed out call. Deb Otten, go ahead, young lady.
Well, I just want to thank you both. Darcy, you're just so amazing, so inspiring. I want to grow up and be like you. And, you know, I know I'm preaching to the choir because everybody's on this call, but, you know, I just want all you guys to just really know what it's like to have them as your leader. It makes me cry. It makes me emotional because you guys are just, I mean, to do this webinar every week, you just go above and beyond. And I'm just so glad that I found you and that I'm plugged into this webinar because I can't tell you how many nuggets I have. Matter of fact, we even listened to you on the way home from Fort Lauderdale last night on your CD, Don, because we carpool over since it's a 2.5-hour drive. And, you know, I'm just blown away by the way you pour out your wisdom and your experience and your knowledge, and you just lay it all out for us. So, I mean, none of us should ever, we're all going to be platinums. We're all platinums in the making because we have this kind of help. And I just want to thank you for that. That's all I want to say today.
Thanks, Deb. And there's nothing that excites us more than to see, you know, every single one of you advance to that next level, move closer to those goals, those dreams, those desires, those aspirations. So we appreciate you, and we'll go up to the Northeast and hear from another gentleman that we've had a chance to get to know, tremendous leader, C.J. Arditi. C.J., go ahead.
Thank you, John. Can you hear me?
We sure can.
I just have to mirror exactly what Deb just said. I mean, Darcy, John, so this webinar was something really, really special. And I feel like, once again, this was directed for me personally for the benefit of everybody else that's on this line. So thank you so much for this. It couldn't have come at a better time. Our organization is moving through the 12-week yearbook right now. And with the habits workbook, with the 12-week year workbook, with all of the daily disciplines and habits that we have to achieve our goals, reviewing my own set of goals and habits, I was talking to Rocco and said, this is why I'm not achieving what I want to be achieving. It's right here. I don't do enough of my own daily habits. I don't keep enough of my own commitments to achieve what I'm trying to achieve. It was like a light bulb just went off. And this is exactly, Darcy, what you were talking about today. Like, the goal is there as a milestone to set because that's what we're trying to achieve. So great. What do we need to do to get there on a regular basis? And I came to the conclusion that if I just kept the commitment to myself that I wrote down on paper, it will be achieved by default. And the fact that you tied scripture around this is even more mind-boggling. I mean, I'm blown away by this. Fantastic, fantastic webinar, so enlightening. And I just want to wrap up on this thought, John, what you were speaking about, you know, being stood up, standing in the front of the room, practicing that presentation, regardless that you were the only one there. Kind of happened to me last night. I had a big seminar planned. It was advertised for. There could have been 50 people in the room, but 5 people showed up. And you know what? I said, you know what? The 5 people that are here were meant to be here. And I delivered the identity theft seminar that was advertised. And as a result of that, one of the guests in the room, when she filled out the presenter evaluation form, I asked R3, and she ends up working for an employee benefits company that would love to learn about this, not only for their employees, but maybe even brokering our services. So, you know, it's just, you just never know, and it's just phenomenal. You do the thing, and the results come. So I just want to thank you again from the bottom of my heart for your tremendous, tremendous leadership. The 45 minutes invested right now is going to go a very long way for everybody on this line. So thank you so much, and back to you.
TJ, so proud of you, man, because you've got the millionaire's mindset. What you did last night is so powerful, and what Darcy and I were taught 25 years ago by our mentors, Jeff Roberti and Cheryl Cortese, was that whether one person showed up or whether 1,000 showed up, that one person deserved your very, very best. So you might look out and say, well, there were supposed to be 100 here and there's only 5 here, you know, and you could have an attitude and you can say, I'm going to shorten the presentation. I'm going to get out of here a little bit earlier. I'm going to leave a few slides out, you know. But no, do what the CJs of the world do. Do what the John and Darcy do. Give those 5 people, give that one person your very, very best. And watch what the rewarder of life, God Almighty, does as you look to that 30, 60, and 100-fold increase because you committed to the right thing. So let's go out to Montana real quick, and we got time for one more. And this young lady is a Golden App Award winner with personally writing close to 8,000 memberships, 6-figure ring earner. And our good friend, we'll hear for a minute from Miss Katie Huff.
Hello, Mr. John and Darcy. Can you hear me?
Yep, speak up low, Katie. You're a little light.
Okay. Well, I am just obviously wanting to echo everything that Deborah said, and TJ, you know, obviously I just love and appreciate you guys so much. The thing that really I love about this particular webinar, there's many, but the number one thing is when I recruit someone, I literally am talking to them, you know, how much time do you have? We can build a business plan around your financial interests and needs by using that particular process that Darcy had talked about with the formula for the personal sales income. That is so easy to do with every one of our new people because it takes it down from, you know, that $1,000 to how much they need to do on a daily basis. And then when we talk about helping them meet their goals by, you know, training them and sitting down with them and doing that one appointment a day. And the one thing that's so awesome about our 10 core commitments is the fact that a part-time person, we're wanting people to do 2 a day. So even if it's $1,000 at that $100 sale and they do consistent and persistent work, they're going to reach their goals. Because if they let go of the results and just focus on the activity and the habit of that activity and being consistent and persistent, they're going to have their 20 presentations within that month because, you know, 1 a day, 5 a week, like Darcy had gone over, and I won't repeat it, but it's just so elementary, and I know everyone knows this, but, you know, John, we always talk about what's easy to do is also easy not to do because sometimes the bar is set low. And so it's like, oh, I have time. I only need to do 1 or 2 presentations today. And so then what happens is we're not in that habit, obviously, is then all of a sudden the day's gone. We haven't done our 1. We haven't even done the 2. And now the next day, for me personally, I'm going, okay, even if I'm traveling, I personally will go, okay, I'm going to be in the air or I'm not going to be available on Wednesday and Thursday. So that means I need to personally double up on Monday and Tuesday and Friday to cover Wednesday and Thursday. So you're looking at your 5 a week or 10 a week presentation and always holding yourself accountable to, like TJ say, that commitment to yourself. And I want to just acknowledge and congratulate him for doing the presentation and having 5 people there. That's huge. And when we let go of the results, that law of the harvest, because we're in that habitual day-to-day running our business like a business, and we will be paid like a business, and it will come back to us tenfold. So I love this presentation. I use that formula every time I recruit someone because if they're part-time or full-time, I'm going to show them how simple it is to be able to be in that activity mode and have success. So I love this presentation because I'm a visual person, and when you put down on paper the numbers, it just helps people to be focused and to have those results, and that will keep them in the game long term because they'll get that check. So I just appreciate all that you guys are doing. Thanks so much, and I'll see some of you in Ada in a couple weeks. So back to you,
Yep,
John.
train the trainer. Fantastic. Thanks, Katie. Katie started off the comment with a value add comment. I don't know if y'all caught this. Very important. She said, you know, in that startup phase with the people she's working with, prospect turned associate, I want to complement your financial interest and your needs. That's something that is very big when you're asking questions. When you ask questions of the individual you're going to be working with, it shows that you have an interest. Your question shows that you have an interest. And I always say to folks, we want to complement, you know, your financial interests, your needs, your dreams, your desires, your strengths, your interests, and take you in a direction that makes sense to you. A size 10 doesn't fit all. You know, a plan of action for somebody who just got downsized at Merck Pharmaceutical is going to dictate a different plan of action than maybe a homemaker who wants to make an extra $1,000 a month. You know, so that's important. You know, great comments across the board. Doris, anything you want to wrap up with? Fantastic call. Great job.
Just the consumer calculator. You just go to ShieldNation. You click commission calculator right here.
Great tool. Doris? Did we lose you? Darcy? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
You can't hear Darcy, can you?
No.
She's having fun, though, talking to herself. Look at her. She's adding a 9, and she's a crack up. Darcy! Hold on, guys. This is a great tool, and I'm sure you can hear it. Darcy, nobody can hear you. All right, here, right here. Talk from my phone. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry about that. So I was just saying, when you're going to do 10 presentations, you can put 10 presentations in the consumer calculator. Go to ShieldNation. Here's the commission calculator. Literally, this should be opened up with every new recruit. Anyone you recruit, the next thing you do is you go to this website, you click on the calculator, they can determine their income level and the exact number of sales needed to reach the income level, and then you go through what Katie talked about and you break it down to a daily habit. All right, so here's the income. If you're a director, for instance, $2,200 is what you would earn. If they're going to get $1,100, that means you're going to train them. You make the difference. So if you want to see on 10 sales, for each, you know, like the recruit 4 people who do 10 sales and you do 10 sales and you're ED, so what do you make on those people that you're helping train? So if you have an associate you're helping to do 10 sales, they're going to earn $1,100, you're going to earn $2,200. The difference between that and that is $1,100. So literally, a director earns the exact same amount as an associate for training that associate to produce 10 sales. So that's legitimate income. That's the override. That's the management income. So I like to have a base pay on sales. So that's the sales you make, and then you have a management income. That's the training and development that you're doing of a sales force in order to expand your reach in the marketplace. That's an important income, because you do need to be paid for management income. And then eventually residual income is really phenomenal, and that's an additional sale or commission you get paid year after year after year, and that's your retirement plan. So base income is what you sell. Management income is the override that you coach and develop people on your team to market products into the marketplace. That's the leverage income you get for doing that, and you just figure out the differential by going to the bottom here. But I just wanted to make sure you know that tool, the commission calculator. Literally every single time you have a recruit, this needs to come out, and you need to show them this so they can make a legit income analysis of what they need to do and go backwards from the amount of presentations. In this case, they need 10 sales, and then what is their closing and how many days a week they're going to work, and et cetera, and get down to a daily habit. So also next week is Brielle Hoffman. I want to let everyone know she's going to be sharing, she's been ED for almost 2 years in a row, nonstop. Actually, it has almost, since she went ED, she never has not gone ED, and she's phenomenal. She's growing in every direction. She's got huge, she might even be gold this month, we don't know, but we'll see, because we focus on the daily habits. We really don't know what's going to happen on the side effect thing. So that somebody's going to share with you her principles. because habits are good and principles, that's my next book, Success Principles at Work, because a lot of times people will go out there and I'm going to do my numbers, but their heart, their motive is wrong. It's more about self than about serving. And so and they don't see the result, and they wonder, hey, I'm doing the habit, but I'm not getting the result. So your principles may be wrong. You may be thinking, if I just blow at people and blow through numbers, I'm going to get results. And so that's a whole nother concept, is the principle by which you are motivated. And that's what Brielle's going to talk about next Friday on the webinar. And so that's it, John.
All right. Fantastic, Darcy. And hey, congratulations to Bob Cohen and Jerry Cohen for the guests that they had in Charlotte this weekend. Congratulations to Marv Worthy, had 2 guests. So Jerry was in Southern California. Marv Worthy was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. But guess what? They had guests plugged in to that Tuesday Biz Op, and all of them are very excited about what Legal Shield has to offer. Certainly we'll get the membership, and the opportunity looks like it's going to come off pretty strong with each one of those folks. So I will be in Louisville with Darcy this weekend. We will be in Fort Lauderdale with the amazing team. You heard Deb Otten on the phone. She'll be there, and all the other great leaders will be in Fort Lauderdale the 18th. Next week, doing the Super Saturday there. We're here for you. Plug them in. Take advantage of what this great business has to offer. And just know that the momentum is on our side in a big way. Appreciate all of you guys. Have a great day, great weekend. Be blessed. We'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.